Hi, I'm Laura Slusher with Indiana LTAP, here today to talk to you about our Retroreflectometer in the loan program. When you get the Retroreflectometer, it'll come in this Pelican case. Open it up. Inside is the Retroreflectometer, 2 batteries, a battery charger, a computer cord to connect it to the computer, an aperture reducer, which we'll talk about later, a carrying handle, and a calibration panel. So when you're ready to use the Retroreflectometer, take one battery, put it in the bottom there, and then here's your on-off switch. Go ahead and flip that on. Now we're going to go through the menu options. Okay, when you first turn on the Retroreflectometer, this is the screen that'll come up, your measurement screen. You're going to want to go to the main screen by pressing Return to Main here at the bottom. Everything is touchscreen operated on this Retroreflectometer. Here are your options: Measure, where you do your measurements, Setup, Calibration, and View the data. The first thing you're going to want to do is calibrate the Retroreflectometer, so let's select Calibrate. Go ahead and get your calibration panel out of the Pelican case. You'll notice the calibration panel has a black fuzzy side, and then also a side with a little sign panel sheeting and some numbers across the top. You want to make sure these numbers match up to the numbers on the screen here, and they do, and that means we have the right calibration panel. If they don't, these options are editable, so you make sure that all the numbers line up. So once you make sure those numbers are lined up, you follow the instructions on the screen, which say place the black side of the calibration panel, which is this side, on the front of the Retroreflectometer. Make sure that it covers the whole front here. Hold it in place, making sure to depress the button here. And then pull the trigger. You'll hear a beep. Then it says, basically flip this around. You want to make sure this sign looking piece is on the bottom here. So make sure that's lined up. Then again, pull the trigger. You'll hear the beep. The Retroreflectometer is now calibrated and ready to use. Now, anytime you use this aperture reducer, you're going to have to recalibrate it. So if you remove this or put it on, make sure to recalibrate it each time, because this will change the readings. This is used to make the smaller letters easier to select on the sign. So we recommend just go ahead and leave this on the entire time. When you're done with the calibration panel, wrap it back up and place it back in its protective bag back in the case. Now let's talk about how to do measurements. You have 2 options here: background and legend. Those correspond to the different parts of the sign. Let's start with background. You'll see a 0.2 and a 0.5. You'll always want to use the 0.2 readings. You'll see options here to add comments and clear last reading and then go to the next sign. It will also show you what sign number you're on. This one already has some data on it, so we're starting sign number 575. You can go through and clear this data. We'll show you how to do that a little later. So when you're taking a background measurement, you're going to want to take 4 measurements on the background color of the sign. For the speed limit sign, for example, it's the white section. Of course, for the stop sign, we have the background is the red part. You'll take 4 measurements around different parts of the sign, and then that's the background. And then when you switch to the legend, make sure to switch to the legend on the Retroreflectometer, and then you'll take 4 measurements along the legend. And then back at the main menu, we've showed you the measure, setup. If you select that, it allows you to calibrate the touchscreen, set the time, clear the memory, and then of course return to the main menu. So to set time, just select set time. And the time is correct, so we'll go back to the setup. To clear the memory, it'll ask you if you're sure. You can say yes. and now it's deleted all the data. And that's a simple way to do it. So return to main next. If we want to view the data that's already in there, we just select view data, and it'll show you what the readings, what our last readings were. Also back on the main menu, at the very top, you'll see the date and the time, and you also see 0.0 and 0.0. Those are your GPS readings. Since we're inside right now, it's not going to pick up GPS satellites. When you get outside, give it about 5 minutes to connect to the satellites, and then you'll see your lat and long numbers pop up there. Now, if you have barcode stickers on the back of the sign, you'll be able to read the barcode as well. Find something with a barcode to test. My drink this morning. The barcode reads out of this top opening here, and you basically take a reading by pulling this trigger here. So you'll, just like at the grocery store, scan your item or the sign on the sticker on the back of the sign, and then the barcode will show up right here for this particular sign that we're measuring. Now, some of the signs we measure are going to be up pretty high. So the option here is to use this pole. To connect the retroreflectometer to the pole, you're going to want to unscrew this. It takes a while. Then you're going to want to connect it to the pole. Now, when you look at this, this thing swings two ways, and you'll see where it swings to where it's flat is how you want to put it on here. If we tried to put it on this way, we can see it wouldn't work. So the battery part sits down in here, this part goes up, and then we reconnect the knob with the pole, and we can telescope it up as needed. Now, when the retroreflectometer is up on the top of the pole, you're not going to be able to reach up there to press the trigger to take the reading. So this remote will do that for you. When you have the retroreflectometer flush against the sign, making sure to depress the button to take the reading, then you press this button and you'll hear the 2 beeps knowing that the reading has been taken. Make sure it's lined up to the infrared window on the bottom of the retroreflectometer. So you may need to rotate this to right underneath so it shoots up. Okay, now we're out in the field ready to take some measurements with our retroreflectometer. I've had it on for about 5 minutes, so it's already acquired its GPS satellites, which I can see in the upper window here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the measure screen, and I'm going to do the background first, so I'll make sure I select background. Remember, I'm taking 4 measurements around the sign, and it's going to average the 4, and that's the reading that I record. So make sure when you are taking the measurement on the sign, this button is depressed so that all the outside light is gone, and it's just measuring the brightness of the sign. And then once you have it against the sign, you pull this trigger, and that's what takes the measurement. I should hear 2 beeps to let me know I take a measurement. I'm going to take it in 4 different spots. I'm not tall enough to get higher up on the sign, so I'm going to have to put this on the pole. Now, when you have it up high, you're not going to be able to see where the hole is lined up, but there are a couple things on the retroreflectometer to help you along. This long line here will show you where it is, and then also underneath you have a center line to help you center it up over the background. So we've taken our 4 measurements for the background. That'll give us our average. We can either write down the average in our log that we have with us, or we can download it when we get back to the office. Now, we can switch to do, depending on the sign, we may switch to do the legend next. This is a speed limit sign, the legend's in black. Black is not a retroreflective color, and it's not a color we measure. However, if there was another sign with a white legend, like a stop sign, yield sign, then we can select legend. Make sure we have it lined up over the legend. Hit the remote button. If we don't get the 2 beeps, it's not flush against the sign. And there's our legend measurement. We take 4 of those as well, all around the legend, and then take the average of that for your final number.